Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nomads, No Worries, the best podcast ever made. We have a special guest with us today, and we're going to talk about Guatemala here in just a moment. But I do want to give a quick update to everyone who listened to our last episode. I was doing a little research on the person who posted that thing on Reddit, the whatever it was, the 10 annoying things that digital nomads do. So the person's name was Biss the Siamese Cat. So I wanted to look at their profile to see what kind of person this was. And I saw that their profile, their account on Reddit had been suspended. So take that for what it is. But, that I don't know what they got suspended for or anything like that. But just had to throw that out there.
No, you didn't kind of sneakily report them for anything? Like, you were kind of offended about the list and...
It wasn't me. I'm not much of a Karen. I'm more of a Steven, but someone may have about that list that they sent out. It was slightly offensive and really angry sounding, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, she doesn't seem to be much of a traveler, so tough to relate. But I wonder if it was like that post or a different post that got her. I mean, I could see her saying some wild stuff on any subject. Or him. I didn't mean to...
Yeah, I don't... Biss the Siamese Cat. I don't know if Biss is a girl name or a guy name or what, but they're suspended, so just had to give that quick update.
Wait, this is kind of a dumb question, but is a Siamese cat like Siamese twins, or is it different?
No, it's a type of cat. It's, it's like kind of like the Egyptian-y looking ones, I think. Is that right? Katrina, you're an animal girl.
No double heads, just...
One head?
Yeah, Egyptian, is a good description.
Yeah, Egyptian-y, yeah.
Like sphinxy.
Yeah, sphincter. Yep. Yeah. All
okay.
right. So today we got an awesome show. We're going to be talking all about Guatemala. I was just there. Katrina was just there, and Jack has been there as well. I do want to introduce our star guest today. It is Katrina. You can follow her on Instagram at Treens Travels. She has been to a shit ton of countries, maybe more than I have, and she is a great travel companion. In fact, she and I did some wild stuff in Guatemala this past week that we're going to share with you guys today.
Wait, I thought I was kind of your travel companion. I mean, it's great you have multiple, but...
You are too, but that's implied since, you're the co-host and everything.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need to say that, but since Katrina's our guest, we got to gas her up a little bit. So first thing I want to talk about now, Katrina, I didn't go on this with you. You kind of had your bachelorette party at the lake in Guatemala while I stayed back in Antigua. So you guys spent almost a week there, and I saw your pictures, your videos. It looked like you were in Italy or something. It just looked incredible. So if you want to share with the people, first of all, what is the name of the lake? I know the word tit is in there somewhere, but if you want to expound upon the name of the lake and what it's all about, that'd be awesome.
So Lake Atitlan, it's actually the deepest lake in all of Central America. But yeah, really just a magical place. I'd really probably put it in my top 3 places I visited at this point. Oh. But yeah, I just wanted to go balls to the wall for my bachelorette. I'm just eloping. I'm not having a full wedding, and I've been dying to go forever. And so I was like, this perfect excuse. Let me have my bachelorette. I'm going regardless who's coming with me. But yeah, this is what your bachelorette looks like in your 30s. I just wanted chill vibes. Obviously I planned the whole thing, being the planner of my friends. But we stayed on this sick villa that was directly on the water in one of the more low-key towns called Santa Cruz. So for those that don't know, Lake Atitlan has a bunch of towns around the coast of the lake. Some are more visited than others, but there's about 10 main towns that tourists will visit, and they're all known for different things. So Santa Cruz is more laid back vibes, and it's pretty centrally located. And you take these boats called lanchas. They're kind of like water taxis, and you take them from town to town. So we got really lucky, booked this sick ass villa in Santa Cruz on the water, had its own dock. So when you're out there trying to grab a lancha, you can go to the public dock in Santa Cruz, which is a 5-minute walk down from us, or you can try to get a private ride off our dock. So I mean, literally just putting my thumb out like you would a taxi in New York City, which was kind of cool. But yeah, just chill vibes. The house was on a full filtration system, which you never find traveling and leaving the US, our sensitive stomachs. That was such a game changer. So yeah, no brushing your teeth with bottled water. Pretty cool.
Wait, so all the water was clean and drinkable in the house?
Yes. I have to look at my message from the host, but something like it's like UV and there's like three different levels of filtration. So cooking with it, I could open my mouth in the shower. That always gets me. And not having to like lug back jugs of water late at night because you're like, I'm almost out.
That is the
So
worst.
yeah, really, I didn't even know that honestly when I booked it. That was just another little surprise. I'm sure you guys love the pictures of the soccer, aka football field.
I was about to say that was my favorite part. Jack, I don't know if you saw the pictures, I'll have to show you, but this dude, the host, right, he built the soccer field, but it's this huge full-size soccer field, really nice. It's turf. It's got like all the lines, like everything, like the nicest soccer field I've ever seen, definitely in Latin America. And it's just like right on the water. You got the volcano views and mountains and stuff in the background. It is like the most stunning soccer field I've ever seen.
So is it like part of this villa that you stayed at, or is it like a?
Yeah. So, if you're like overlooking the balcony of the villa, when you look, there's like you walk up like a set of stairs from the dock and like the lake level, and you go up a set of stairs with a keypad to this field, and then you go up another set of stairs up a terrace, and that's where like our first floor of our house is. Next door to us is the host. He's American. We actually have a lot in common. He actually is from Florida too, so we got to chatting. He
Oh,
lives with his family, his wife and his two young sons in the villa 50 feet from us. We literally talk to him every day, but he's there in the house called Casa Toli, and we're next door in Villa 2, which he rents out. But one of the last days, we saw him teaching soccer to a group of local kids, like expat kids, but also the native children. And like he teaches them soccer, but you can rent it out as well. You can land a helicopter on it if you want. There was like instructions on if we wanted to like come from Antigua and like rent the helicopter. I'm like, that's pretty sick.
that would
That
be a
is
pretty
sick.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, he rents it out to people. We were able to like if we didn't want anyone there, which it really didn't like infringe on our privacy by any means. I mean, like the kids could kind of look up and see us on the balcony, but we were like a whole 25 feet higher up. But
Hmm.
yeah, we could have rented it out so no one would be down there for like $40 a day, but pretty unnecessary. But yeah, like even the our dock, it said Toli on it, and then the O was a soccer ball. So I was like, oh, that's cute.
Cute,
But yeah,
cute.
he's just a soccer dude. And actually, it's funny. There was Steve, your girlfriend, Alita, my friend. She just said today that one of your friends, just like sent her the video of that place. Like that house is viral and it's going viral because of the soccer field.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
The post was like, "Is this the most beautiful soccer pitch in the world?" And it was literally the thing you guys were doing cartwheels on last week.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the lake. What kind of activities did you guys do on it?
Okay.
Like, what was kind of the vibes out there?
Go through the itin a little.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had outside of the travel days, I think we had like 3 or 4 full days dedicated like in different towns. So the
okay.
first day, we wanted to venture to a nearby town called San Marcos,
I
and
went
that's
there.
very like hippie vibes. I'm not super into like all the corny bachelorette things, so I wasn't gonna do the whole matching t-shirt thing, but I was like, we can have a little matchy matchy cute. So we did like a crochet day since it kind of fit the vibes, and we started off by going to the most magical treehouse place I've ever heard of and been to. It's called Kawok Forest, Kawoc. And there we were told like let's meet at this cafe close to the dock and we're gonna have a porter walk you there. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's just like hard to find. This was the day after we came down from our volcano hike, and it was like another hike to get up. It was like at least a mile straight uphill. I was sweating when we got there, and a couple of the girls in our group they're living at sea level, so they were like, whew, when we got up there. But outside of that, if I could do it all over again, I would 100% stay here. It's also a hotel, but they do very woo woo, hippy dippy things, which is my vibe. So I booked us all a Mayan fire and cacao ceremony. And for me, that was a highlight. It was 2 hours long, which I seem to not inform my friends about.
Black it out.
2 hours of a legit ceremony. They walked us through the treehouse area and they walked us into, they called it a cave, but I would say it's more of a canyon. We were not enclosed. We were kind of just sitting on these straw mats around a fire in an enclave of a canyon. And it was us and some other people, and then there was like two guides leading it, and one of the guy that leading the ceremony, he is Mayan, his name is Tata. And yeah, it was really just like 2 hours of him talking about how we're all connected, we're all part of the earth. And we happened to go the day after the Mayan calendar, the Mayan New Year, I guess, had started the day before. They do this every Wednesday, and no matter who shows up, it's this guy does this to connect to his ancestors and to the earth, regardless of if attendees come. So yeah, we prayed to 13 different fire gods. We were passing around different things that we threw into the fire, like sugar and quinoa and sticks, and setting intentions. So yeah, it was really cool. We all kind of like talked about what we wanted to get out of it. And when we really started ramping up, there was, you'd hear like birds squawk here and there. When we started getting into it and the fire really started going and the singing and the chanting, the birds started going insane.
Alita told me about that, and I was like, no, unless they really cleverly somehow can like make birds fly around, like that is wild that this dude's prayer thing actually made birds go crazy.
They were losing it. And so I actually thought about you. I was like, I wonder if Steve's going to think that these are paid actors. Sugar apparently ignites fire when we threw the sugar in, and he had some like flowers in there and he's moving it around. I mean, I feel like he didn't really add he didn't add any logs throughout the 2 hour thing. It was like a couple of us throwing sticks in, but then just kind of like moving the ashes around with the sugar was like just explosion.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, like it all that makes sense. But yeah, we left it really nice with the guys that led it. They at the end were like, and so we have some upcoming events this Friday. If you'd like to join us, we're gonna have an ayahuasca ceremony, just casually. We're gonna do ayahuasca this Friday. If you'd like to join in, and maybe you'll come by, maybe not. And then we all hugged, and I went to go hug on this side, and he corrected me, and he's like, no, we hug on this side so our hearts connect. And I'm like, that's cute. So yeah, that was like it was super spiritual and amazing. We went and did like, they have different areas where you can swim. You can't swim everywhere on the lake. And so we went to this nature reserve where you can jump off the cliff into the water. It's called I'm going to mess up the second word, Tanzakil Reserve. It's like a few US dollars to enter to pretty much go swimming. And they have a high dive that's about 100 feet up, something like that. Normally, I'm not scared of heights. My sister and I were so down. We're like, let's do this thing. And we got out onto that edge, and I'm like, hell no. Like, both of us, our bodies just start shaking. I'm like, my heart is just in my throat, and I'm like, I cannot do this. And then Alita proceeds to tell me how she went off a jump that was that high in Curacao and wrecked herself. And I'm like, that's the last thing I need for the rest of this trip and before my wedding, is to like, I would land wrong. So
I felt really bad about that one, because like, of course I was encouraging her to do it. Like I did it first and it was fine, but I was like, you're fine. Like I just did it. You'll be good. It's safe. And I think she kind of just freaked out when she did the jump, and landed all weird and like bit her tongue and like kind of did a belly flop kind of thing. Like she was injured for whatever reason, just not landing correctly in the water. But
I give her props for jumping, because like I don't get freaked. My sister and I were like, yeah, we're gonna be badass. And there was these big European dudes kind of like walking up with us, and they were waiting to go, and they're like, well, if I go, will you go? I'm like, I mean, I'm not gonna commit. I'm not gonna say yes, but like, you can go if you've already done this. And he just ran off like it was nothing. And at one point, my sister Alex and I, we psych ourselves. We're like, okay, we're holding hands. We go and run off. I'm at the edge. I bail. I'm like, hell no. Her body, if you look in the video, she's hanging off. I grab her and I pull her back, just like older sister strength. And I'm like, we're not doing this. So they had down the way, I would say maybe like 40 feet high, they had another jump, and
Okay.
that was the perfect height. We did that over and over, and it was fun. So we still jumped, but everyone was like, good thing you didn't go. There's also this like little girl with her family, maybe like 7 years old, and I felt like she was, that skit on SNL, it's like Debbie Downer, and they just like keep saying things, and you're like, oh shoot. She kept being like, yeah, someone really hurt themselves here yesterday. And I'm like,
Oh God.
just like every time I'm gonna go, just like saying things in my ear, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so
So
what's the proper way to land if you're jumping off a 100-foot cliff? Like, are we talking like pencil or like,
yeah, the guy said pencil. The man that was explaining it to us, because there was people in our group that didn't speak Spanish, so he was like, and when you go like this, or you. So pretty much
so
you're gonna
that's a
get
different.
wrecked if you don't land right. And honestly, like even when I was doing the smaller of the jumps, even just that, all my form being right, I still felt the impact on my feet. And I'm like, dude, I even felt my stomach drop then. And I'm like, dude, doing that like over double the height? No, no, I have no regrets. I don't wish I did it. And I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I think that's chill. I mean, getting hurt in a foreign country also, like maybe if it was in America, a little more confidence, but it would just suck to have to get, well, at least there's a helipad on the soccer thing.
So true. Yeah, we
Like,
were so close.
yeah.
So yeah, and then that night we went back to our house. One of the things that our host recommended that came with our villa, like there was different services we could like cleaners, and we didn't bother with any of that, but he had recommendations for local experiences. And in our town, there's a woman named Alicia. It's called Cooking with Alicia, and she hosts traditional Mayan cooking classes. You can go to her house or she can come to you. And so we had this beautiful house and we wanted to chill. So I'm like, yeah, let's have her come to us. And so, yeah, I mean, she speaks Spanish, obviously. So she asked if we wanted a translator for those in the group that didn't speak.
Oh.
And the translator was her son. So she came with like her 14 and 18-year-old son. Then her sister ends up showing up too. So it was like all four of them. They come with everything you could possibly need, and they let us know ahead of time like the different dishes we could choose from. So I chose pepian con pollo, so it's very much like it's similar to like a mole sauce with the chicken. It was very veggie forward, which was cool. Like our rice had like a bunch of veggies, and obviously it was like roasted tomatoes and all that stuff. But yeah, it was really cool to like experience a new way of cooking. And I don't know the name of them, but we made these like, it was like a corn dough, and we just added a bunch of these leaves in, and they were pretty much like tamales, and we wrapped them in corn leaves, and I think we made like 100 of them, and we all had like one. So we just like, yeah, take whatever you want home. We went and fed the dogs later, the strays, my angels. They really loved it. But yeah, that was really awesome. They also, the drinks that she served with it too, she gave us like a cacao drink, which cacao's everywhere on the lake, and Jaimica tea, which is like the hibiscus flower. And then
These
she
are
came with like a,
ayahuasca free drinks.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Wait a
Yeah,
s-
yeah, right. But yeah, and then she had like a dessert too, but it was really cool. We had a really good time. And then, yeah, so that was our San Marcos day. Then we did a day of really leisurely. We kind of just woke up, and we woke up and we went to the town of San Juan, which is it's more authentic in my opinion. San Marcos is cool. It's very hippie vibes, but you will see a lot of non-Guatemalan people there,
Wait,
and a lot of
I'm
expats
trying to.
there.
It's been a few years since I've been there, but was that the
Yeah.
place with like all the Hebrew everywhere and like a lot of Israelis?
There was definitely a lot of visitors and nomads and expats and that kind of thing. It was definitely more of like a touristy vibe, but we had like lunch at a really cool vegan place. I mean, like I liked it. I saw a lot of mixed reviews ahead of time that were like,
Okay.
it's kind of like gentrified vibes. Normally I avoid that, but I'm really glad we went. I liked it a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
then like the next day going to San Juan was such a contrast. That definitely felt more authentic. It was super colorful. It's very artsy, a lot of like farms and factories there for like the honey and the bees, cacao, coffee, different like plant farms. We didn't I swear the days just fly by. We didn't get to it, but they do these herbal saunas there, and a lot of them are like women run. So these farms where people grow different types of herbs, like lavender, things like that. And then they'll pick them, and you can do this heated sauna in like a chamber kind of thing with all of the herbs that they produce. But it was just really cool to like walk around and see all the different murals, super colorful. They have like all the umbrellas. It's like the iconic umbrella streets and
Classic.
sombreros. Yeah, classic. Yes, the last day we just kind of hung around close to us. The super neighboring town to Santa Cruz is called Hibolito, and the most magical place you will go to on the lake, also mixed reviews. It's a hotel, but you can go hang for the day, and it's called La Casa del Mundo. And yeah, it kind of gave me like also like, yeah, like European vibes. It was just, you're in nature. There's the stone built into the cliffside. There's multiple levels, and they have hammocks and swimming. So we really just like hung out there all day, but it's one of those places that I'm like, ugh, just so, so beautiful. So that would be like my last and final wreck on the lake that you just can't miss.
Yeah, the pictures of that were magical.
Did you guys ever just
Okay.
drive around on a boat, hang out, or?
They didn't have a boat, but there was just like these like platforms in the water where we just kind of were getting sun, hammocks. They have just different like, anywhere you walk through there, you feel like you're walking through a garden on the cliffside. And there's so many different hang areas with like chairs and tables, and it's only it was like 50 quetzales, which is like 650 USD to hang for the day, and you could use the kayaks if you wanted. So we reached it by boat. You apparently can walk from Santa Cruz, but it was a little sketch, so we just took a little launch in there. But it is a hotel, so you could stay there too.
Does any Spanish-speaking country not have a town called Santa Cruz? I feel like there's always a Santa Cruz everywhere.
Or San
Yeah,
Yes.
San Juan.
Another town was like San Pedro. Classic.
Okay, so our volcano. Katrina, we did this one together, but you did plan it, so you might actually like know the terms a little bit better. If you want to give a quick overview of that, I have my takes and stories from it, but yeah, if you want to give an overview of kind of what we did.
Yeah. So this was actually my main draw to Guatemala. I have wanted to do this for years. I've had this planned 2 different times and it be canceled for one reason or another. And I'm like, I'm doing this. So you can hike a volcano in Guatemala close outside of Antigua called Acatenango. And you are hiking Acatenango and you are sleeping on Acatenango, but in the very near distance is Fuego volcano. And that is what is super active, erupts daily. And you do this hike so you can pretty much camp out and see a lot lava erupting right there in front of your face. So for the last 4 years prior to the trip, it has erupted every single day. So like when you go, you're guaranteed to see lava erupt up close and personal. And apparently like the 20 days prior to us coming, it wasn't erupting. And then we started talking to some people in Antigua. We had like a day in Antigua before the hike to settle in. And one of the guys said that it did erupt the day before. So we're like, okay, great. We're good to go. So we pretty much have a meetup spot in Antigua. They take us to, they're kind of like, I wouldn't call it base camp, but it's where they have all the gear. You gear up to go, you pack a backpack. You can carry your stuff uphill for this very, very strenuous hike in a pretty decent altitude. I think it was at the top like 14,000 feet. So for someone who lives in Colorado and hikes, even I still was struggling. A few of us decided to, you have the option to rent a porter and to carry your bags because they're like 50 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm so glad I did because I was still dying not
Me
carrying
too.
a backpack.
Yeah,
Like,
that was the
no
most worth
shame.
it.
Were the
like
porters
$30
like superhuman, like were they just not even tired?
No, they were like smaller than us. They were like tiny, short little Guatemalan guys.
Yeah, just,
We're just pussies. So
yeah, literally just.
I am. You're not
counting-
Katrina, but I'm a pussy.
I mean,
Kelly, our friend,
Ussy.
she didn't rent a porter. She just brought the bag up herself, and it looked
Dude.
tough.
Did she have a problem, or she was struggling a
She
little bit?
was definitely lagging in the back, but like she did it. I mean, I'd be way behind her if I had a bag.
Yeah.
But there was other people in the group too. There was like a Czech couple who also carried their bags, and they were back there as well. So, and then there was another couple, well, they were friends from Mexico, a girl and a guy. And after like the first hour, I was like, where's your boyfriend? She's like, well, he's not my boyfriend, but he's coming. And like, we did not see him until later that night, until we got to base camp at the top. And I'm like, did he just follow everybody and like hope he got here? Like, he was really struggling. So that would have been me if I was carrying the bag. It was rough, but it was doable. I mean, like, we stopped a lot. There were so many like actual places people were stopping where they were like selling coffee and fruit and snacks and that kind of thing. So honestly, like, I've done hikes just like this. I would say it was definitely doable. I think it was just the way down, but we'll get there. So yeah, we get to camp, and
So what is camp like? Is it like a village or like?
no, I mean, like, I think they're pretty like scattered around the mountain. We were in camp 2 of our specific company we went with. We went with Lava Trails. So like the main tour company everybody uses there that I've heard a lot from and been recommended is Joe and Charlie's. We booked with them. We tried to book way too late. We would have been in like a mixed dorm of like 12 people. And I'm like, nah, no, I'm not doing that. So Lava Trails, which is the company we went with, they have a lot of ex Joe and Charlie's guides that kind of made their own company, and they had 2 different camps. One we could kind of see like down the hill below us, and we were camp 2. And I really wanted to go with them because these huts have amazing views. Like, they had 2 bunk beds, and really like the bunk beds could have slept 4 people, and they were like 2 very small beds on the one lower level and the same at the top. But when you're like where your feet are, where you're looking out, where the volcano should be directly in front of your face, just hitting you there, it was all glass. So I was like, oh, we're gonna be able to watch it all hours of the night. I'm gonna wake up to pee, and I'm gonna see this volcano erupting right there. That's gonna be so sick. Well,
Yeah.
we're like halfway up on our trek, and we stop for lunch, and then it starts to get cloudy. It didn't rain, but it was just dense fog. And then we get up to camp, and the mountain that should be right in your face, I mean, we couldn't see like 5 feet in front of us. It was
Wow.
just
So we didn't see the volcano at
Is that
all.
normal?
Like, it was supposed to be right in front of us.
Conditions, or-
no. I
like-
mean, I think like I did talk to different people throughout the rest of the trip. We were like, oh, there was a guy on my flight home back to the States. He did directly in the seat next to me. He did the hike the same exact day as us, and he was zooming in, and he like, you could see a baby blip of lava at the top when like the clouds did clear, but it didn't really erupt. So even if we didn't have the fog and the clouds obstructing our view, we still wouldn't have really seen lava go crazy. But yeah, that's atypical. It's erupted
Okay,
every day
that-
the
that
last
makes me
4
feel-
years.
That makes me feel a lot better. Oh, by the way, I got our official stats. So the top of what is it? Acatenango?
Acatenango. Yeah.
Acatenango is 13,045 feet. And then like our base camp was around 12,000 feet. So
Oh.
yeah, Jack, I know I told you I was training so hard because I was coming from sea level too. Like
Right.
this was going to be, because like the 14er hikes in Colorado are freaking difficult. Like I can't breathe. Like it was, I thought this was a lot easier because thank God I like prepped myself and like thought it was going to be that difficult, because it was not nearly as hard as a 14er hike, you know, for all of our Colorado people out there. You could definitely
Also,
do
like,
this.
the air was really humid, which was nice. For me, I have like deviated septum, all that jazz. And so the second I'm back in humidity, I was thinking, I was like, honestly, I'm not wheezing right now. Like, if this was in Colorado, I really would be still even struggling with that. But my breathing was fine. I was fine for the most part. Yeah, I really was not. The hike itself wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
Well,
it was the way down that got me. The way down was like just putting so much pressure on my legs. Like I skip leg day pretty regularly, right, Jack? I don't know if are you a leg day guy or
I don't know. I've been asking ChatGPT about my workouts lately, and it told me to do more legs. And so, like, is that weird that it said
yeah,
that?
that's why ChatGPT is a stupid robot. But we're smart. We know that you don't need to do legs. So
Okay,
Or
that's
you
But
should
I-
start going. As a
subscription.
side note, you should start going to Pilates. I'm just saying.
Okay.
The thing is,
There you go, Jack.
I'm kind of a clumsy guy, and it looks like a complicated machine, and
You don't have to use the
know.
machine. I went to a hot mat Pilates yesterday in Denver. It's all on the mat. You don't even stand up. I can't walk today.
Wait, Katrina, were you about to say Pilates? Is that the tech?
It's not a thing, but it should be.
Wait, so does that mean it's yoga if it's Pilates without the thing, or am I just
You're not doing yoga poses. I mean, like,
okay?
you're like on your all fours, and you might be doing like the little fire hydrant things, but you have a band on, and it's a lot of core strength. But
Okay.
when I was training literally as a dancer, like legitimately when I was growing up, as a ballet dancer, we were not allowed to take ballet at my studio without also taking Pilates there because like of the core strength and everything. It's like the best workout. So I'm just saying, if you want legs and you don't want to do that whole thing in the gym, hit Pilates. It's going to do something to you.
All right, now I don't want to keep being a naysayer about Pilates. I think it's very interesting. Every time I talk to a random person like in South Beach, they are just coming back from Pilates. I swear. Like everyone is always coming back from Pilates. Like I don't know if they're just messing with me or not, you know? But
It's back on the radar.
Okay. And you know, all of our mutual friends, Sierra, she said, "Jack, I don't want you to go to Pilates. It's girl time." Like, what do you think about that? Like, if a guy comes into your Pilates class, like, are you like, it's just like, this is supposed to be girl
I don't feel
time.
weird about it. I'm honestly trying to get my fiance Mark to go.
Okay.
The Pilates place I went to yesterday is right next door. It's brand new to his office in Rhino. And I walked out yesterday and he's like, "Oh, I'll come say hi." And I looked at him. I looked disheveled, and it was a hot class too. And I'm like, "You're coming with me and you're going to die one day." Because if you see these, I mean, it is a women dominated thing. I think like in general group classes, you don't really get that many men anyways, but Pilates it looks so easy and it's so hard. Like watch NFL players take a reformer class. A reformer's that machine, and they're screaming in pain. It is so underrated. So I think, and also like, it's a big thing with women now because we're finding out that like HIIT workouts and all of the stuff is like actually not good for our nervous system and all of that stuff. So like low impact workouts are actually like better for us. So
For women as a species?
yeah,
Okay.
The whole species. Wow.
the whole species of women, really, because it is a burner. Like, I mean, I literally did that yesterday, and I could feel myself in bed last night. I was moving and I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, that's how I felt after going down that volcano. I felt like I was doing hard. I felt like I was reforming my balls off. Like the next few days, like my legs were so sore.
So Steve,
I wasn't okay until the very last day of my bachelorette. When we got back so the way down, that it started raining and it's all muddy as it is, and you don't like, it's so humbling when you go back down. You're like, wow, I actually went up this is so freaking steep. Without the rain and the mud, it would have been atrocious. Thank God for the poles. I still ate it. I messed up my shoulder, actually. It's been hurting. I'm like, I wonder why. It's because I slipped and I had my hands like this to stop me, and that was just enough. But yeah, the way down, and then you just see the porters and all people that like are running bags. We were booking it and we got down in like, I think little less than 2 hours. Apparently those porters get down in 40 minutes. I mean, they were running down loose. Like, I mean, when I was stepping, my entire boots, my Columbia boots that support my ankles, I was just getting hella rocks down in there, just stepping, and they're just running down it.
wow.
And I think about it, I'm like, damn, people that do this that are not typically like hikers. I mean, like, at least for me being a hiker in Colorado, you have the sense of being sure-footed, of stepping on a rock and kind of jumping like that, a little bit of like the parkour. Even me, I was like, damn.
The poles were nice. I gotta say, I always like in Colorado when I see people hiking with the poles, like I make fun of them. I'm like, you don't need those. But they came in handy this time. Handy, quite literally.
Handy.
Just
Donkey Kong.
I think they help. Yeah. I was calling myself Donkey Kong because of the.
Are you milking right now?
You know Donkey Kong, like going like,
like that. Okay, I thought it was like this.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Okay,
Their trail names. We were talking about the Appalachian Trail, and they all have their own trail names. And like, the Dora songs were just coming so naturally to me. So I was Dora, Steve was Donkey Kong.
It was Mario.
Short.
But yeah, no, the The down got me. When we got to Antigua later that day, so like you pretty much get back to town. They give you a celebratory beer, give all your gear back, and then they take you back to Antigua. And so we had a house for the night because my Florida friends were coming in. And myself, Kelly, and Alita, who all did the hike, were staying in the rooms upstairs, and I was holding onto the staircase, just like on the way down, just every foot. And I was like that for a few days. So you're lucky that your soreness went away like relatively quick, Steve, because I still felt it like on the plane. Like it got better the last day, almost a week later.
It was bad for me too. I wanted to go on a run the next day, and I was like, nah, I don't think I can run. Like honestly, my legs hurt like crazy.
Could barely walk.
Yes.
So when you are summiting, is that the correct term for volcano hiking?
Sure.
How close to the lava are you?
I'm not 100% sure, but we didn't even get the opportunity. So yeah, we didn't talk about that. Rewind. When you get to camp after hiking Acatenango and you put your stuff down, we got there like 3 something, but there is an optional extra Fuego hike where you do get close. Now I don't know exactly what that distance is, but I know you're like right there, and they say like this is your own risk, like it could be dangerous.
The Blazing Challenge.
It's pretty
Blazing
much
challenge
like
for real.
I would say, they said it's like another 4 hours. You go straight down and then you go straight back up to come back. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I would need a wheelchair. Like there's no way if I did anything extra than what I already did, I would have been okay. But yeah, you're supposed to get really, really, really close. I just see all these videos of people that have done it, and I'm just like,
but we didn't even get that option, Jack, because the weather was so shitty, and there was no
so
visibility.
You're not gonna see anything.
So it was just not worth it. Which low key, I was like, okay, cool, because like I didn't want to do another 4-hour hike. But I was like, I totally would have done it if the weather was good. Now I can say that.
The weather held you. I mean, that'd be scary, right? Like there's so much fog, and all of a sudden you step in some lava.
Yeah.
Like it might be unrealistic. Like
I don't know if you're like that close. But
okay.
I would think if they're calling it the optional Fuego hike, that is the volcano that's erupting. So I'm assuming you're on it. Yeah, I think like it was so foggy. We roasted marshmallows on a fire, typical like non-US things where there's really no like real safety measures. Had like maybe 5 feet between the fire pit and just a ledge, just straight down. And we're all like, it's pitch black with our headlamps peeing in the middle of the night. So that was interesting.
Headlamp on, let me tell you.
Plastic. And then there was like 3 huts in our camp. Really, each of our huts could have slept 4 of us. It would have been tight. So myself and Kelly had 1 hut of the 3. Steve and Alita were in another. And then those 4 other people shared the last one. And yeah, Kelly and I's hut had this like another little section to it, which is where we ate all of our meals. It was covered. It was kind of like you walked into this room and it was a kitchen with the bench. And then our room was straight through. So it actually helped keep it a little bit warmer because of the cooking. But that's where we had like group meals, and they served us spaghetti packaged.
Yeah.
It's
the local
chef
Guatemalan spaghetti.
Okay.
Yeah, he was trying to tell us it was the dogs. And I'm like, that's not cool, dude.
Like the dog meatballs?
Yeah, he was saying that the meat sauce, the ragu, he's like, pero. I'm like, no.
Oh, crazy. I mean, very risky. Okay.
Katrina was not the right audience for that joke. And he kept trying to get me to go in on. He's like, right, Steve? He's like winking at me. I was like, yeah.
And then I was like, no, don't mess with me like that. Because there's just, so many sweetie strays, and some of them will hike with you. They just show up, honestly, living their best lives. Yeah, they had a boxed wine for us, but it wasn't boxed. Like, it was like those like juice containers, or like the milk that's not refrigerated, like those kind of boxes. And it's like, I don't even know what the label said, but we were just pouring it up, just staying warm, hit some marshmallows, hoping that it was going to clear. And I would say maybe around like 8 p.m., you could see the volcano. The fog moved, but you could not see any lava in the distance. We still didn't have the option to go to Fuego. And then there were a few times, I didn't really sleep too well. I was like kind of anxious. I wanted to see it. And so every like 2 hours I'm waking up and I definitely could see it, but yeah, no eruption. So that's a bummer. And then usually on the Acatenango hike, the morning before you leave, there's an optional sunrise where you walk to the summit of Acatenango, the one you're staying on, and you go above the clouds.
Oh, that'd
So
be
you
cool.
can, yeah. And then you can see in the distance Fuego erupting, but he's like, you're not going to see anything. So super bummer. I feel like I need to go back and do it again because I'm just seeing so many videos now after the fact of
We still
people.
had
I'm
fun
like,
though, Katrina.
it was still
We shared some
fun.
laughs. We got some exercise. It's all
Just
good.
lived off like
Wait,
snacks for like 2 days, really. Just like beef jerky and like chocolates and just
Yeah.
had a lot of bunk laughs.
ayahuasca.
Yeah. I don't like, I still would have done it and it was still a fun time, but I have to do it again.
Wait, but when you guys are in the town, did you see the Fuego come out? Did you see eruptions like when you're in the town looking up at it?
You know, I don't know. Honestly, when I was in town, I'm like, which volcano is which? Like,
No,
what am I looking
apparently
at?
you can't really see it from there are some special circumstances when you can see it from Antigua, but it's not typical. You really got to do the hike to see it. And speaking of Antigua, that actually is a good time to maybe transition to talking about the town. You guys
Um,
down?
okay.
So down. Yeah.
I just want to start off. I just gotta get this off my chest. My feelings about it. I loved Antigua. Amazing, amazing town. It's the full name of it is the name of the town is Antigua Guatemala because it means old Guatemala. So like it's Antigua Guatemala, Guatemala. Like it's not just Antigua. The official name is Antigua Guatemala. I found out. Anyway, now this is one of the most beautiful towns. So I thought, because I've been to a lot of old towns in Europe with this kind of old architecture and they're really pretty, but like Europe is fully developed and they're good at keeping up with that stuff. So I was like, this is in Latin America. It's probably going to be like kind of shitty, but it's a World Heritage Site. So I think, it's pretty well kept. And I was really amazed at how well preserved and beautiful the architecture of this town was. Every restaurant had like a beautiful courtyard and just it was adorable. And it really really blew me away. I was pleasantly surprised. So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I was saying it reminded me of Morocco in the way of externally you would see a building and it just looked pretty basic, the walls, and then you go in and you're like, whoa, I was not expecting that. The place we got lunch at after the hike, that was incredible.
Yeah,
Just
I love that spot.
meticulously decorated. I felt like you were in an Art Deco hotel. And I feel like every place was like that. I'm like, oh, this is cute.
I went to McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Starbucks, and they were all like the most beautiful fast food places I've ever seen.
That Starbucks is particularly infamous for being like the prettiest Starbucks in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Jack, I know it's been a while since you were there, but what are your feelings?
Well, I'm just glad that I finally I hyped up Antigua so much for Steve. Katrina, I kept saying it's the coolest place ever. And Steve, now he never believes me. Anytime I ever say a place is cool, he basically
Well, it's
he's
because Jack is
yeah, for myself. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
because Jack is too positive, which I love about Jack. I love that he's a positive person, but he never has a bad thing to say about anyone or any place. So if I ask him about a place he's been, he only says good things. He's never told me he disliked anywhere. So when I'm asking him about places, I'm like, well, of course you're going to say you liked it. But it was true this time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get that. Maybe I'm a little easy to please, but I did really enjoy. I felt like one thing you guys didn't mention, so I'll take this one, is I felt like the weather was incredible. I think the combo of the altitude plus the sun plus the fuego, I felt like it was I felt like the weather was a vibe. And I agree. I thought every restaurant was cute. I remember there would even be when you see an abandoned warehouse in the US, you're sketched out, but when you see an abandoned column in ruins in Antigua, it draws you in,
Yes.
I thought it
Yeah.
was pretty badass.
It was really, I was pleasantly, I mean, I knew it was going to be pretty, but not like that. And I really wish I had more time there too. Just saying, we should all go back maybe next year.
I'm down. I mean, there's a huge expat population there. Like I hung out at the bars all week with just gringos of all ages, mostly above 60. But yeah, lots of gringos, lots of English being spoken there. And yeah, it was a vibe. It was a lot of fun. Another fun fact, by the way, about Antigua is I learned it was the capital of Guatemala for like 200 years, but then a massive earthquake came through and like kind of destroyed the city. So then Guatemala City became the capital. So Antigua used to be, it's funny, like everyone's worried about the volcanoes because there are, 3 volcanoes that surround the town, but it was the earthquake that got people.
Talk about a sneak attack, dude. They didn't see it coming. They're like all worried, and then all of a sudden the ground shifts from underneath you.
If we do ever go back, did Alita tell you about the house I got us? That was like a little outside of the city center where we stayed the night before we went to the lake. Dude.
Yes, and I saw pictures. Yeah. It was
the value.
amazing.
The value in just, this is exhibit A of why people need to start leaving the US. Like, not even to leave, just traveling, just the value you will get. I booked this house when I thought there was going to be like 10 of us. And for many reasons, it ended up being a total of 5 of us. And the house that I got was in a gated community. I would say it was like a 15-minute Uber drive from like the city center. So it was a little bit removed, but whatever. Gated community, the full house, and there was 5 bedrooms. And some of these rooms had like 2 queen beds. It slept 14 people. Nice. And for the night, it was like $300. So even with 5 of us, it was $60 a person. We all had our own room. And like everything was open air because of the weather. Yeah, it's so nice. Like no one's doing AC, but it's not like you really get to a point where it probably would even be unbearable. Like in the summer, I heard it like stays pretty even and it's pretty temperate. And so
yeah.
I mean, like to have this house, it was so cool to have like, the living room would be like fully open air. You'd have this couch and it's like the sky is right there. And yeah, just amazing.
Yeah. I met some other retirees. One guy said his rent for his apartment there is like $250 a month. Another guy was like, he's like, I have the nicest place in town. Like it's super nice. And it's $800 a month. So pretty good value there, like you said, and super safe. Like I also heard that, Guatemala, it has its crime issues. It has its gangs, just like a lot of other countries. But there's kind of like an unspoken agreement, like kind of like with Mexico City, same thing there. Like, the gangs and like the bad guys don't fuck with Antigua. They're like, this brings in way too much money for you guys to like ruin it and scare all the tourists away. So they just don't fuck with Antigua, which is nice.
That is.
I never felt unsafe at any point.
Yeah, no, it was very chill.
Then another thing that I love, and I think this is probably, that region of the world is great, is I feel like a lot of the houses are like the Spanish colonial style with like the courtyard in the middle. And that is the one thing I want when I get my house is I want a courtyard in the middle. I don't want a front and backyard. I want a courtyard in the middle.
Like,
I'm with you, dude.
One of these houses, actually, there was like, we were like the house 64. And I mean, they all looked like this, just heaven.
Dude, every place in Antigua had a courtyard. Like every restaurant, every house, every hotel. It was incredible. It was such a vibe. Like I said, I thought it was going to be shitty Latin America, but it was beautiful. Yeah, really good vibes. All the restaurants, like it was so much fun. There's so much to do there. Lots of cool bars, restaurants, very lively, but not overwhelmingly loud or obnoxious or anything like that. Like it's still very charming. I went to like the oldest bar where the guy who founded the brand Illegal Mezcal actually founded this bar, and he used to literally sneak mezcal from Mexico, from Oaxaca, and like he would go drive over the border and get it and like bootleg it over to Guatemala, I guess when it was illegal to have mezcal in Guatemala, or he just did it to save money on like the taxes from importing the mezcal. But yeah, so this bar was just super old, still had that kind of speakeasy vibe, and yeah, just lots of really cool spots like that.
Is that how you started the conversations at the bar, Steve? You're like, man, I really thought it was going to be shitty here, guys, but this is pretty awesome. Like, let's cheers. Is that what you're like? Oh, guys, this doesn't suck. Like,
I usually skip that part. I usually skip I thought it'd be shitty. I just say, wow, it's beautiful here. I skip the first part usually.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
No, Steve instead is bringing the American culture to Antigua single-handedly by singing Wagon Wheel.
Oh my gosh.
Although, yeah, that we the first night there we met up with Steve after our girls' dinner and went to this rooftop bar with a lot of middle-aged expats.
It was open mic night. It was
Interesting
open
jobs.
mic night, Jack.
Are we middle-aged or are we still young?
No, we're like, oh no, what are we? Wait, I guess
We're still cute. We're still cute,
we're still
I think.
cute. Let's just say
So
they were
when you
like
stop being
60s.
cute, yeah, they were
50s,
60s at least.
60s?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Running from something, potentially.
it's possible.
I think our little friend Mark is running from something. I hope he doesn't watch this.
He probably does. I mean, he probably does, to be honest.
Yeah, he helps people move to Guatemala. We're not really sure what that means. He could be legitimate, could be not. We'll never know.
Yeah, he was pushing some conspiracy theories. He's basically like scaring us about how horrible the United States is. He's like, so you should move to Guatemala and I'll help you do it. Here's my business card. You
And
know?
like a slicked back hair with a little ponytail and like a full suit. It's not that weather. And then he's like, I got my Jeep out front. Do you have your bikinis? And I'm like, hell no. But he wasn't lying about the Jeep. We saw it when we walked out. It was pretty nice. He's like, yeah, I'll come
But-
back to my house. I'm like, this is
We
my
stepped-
bachelorette. Like, I'm literally getting married, sir.
Yeah,
Mark
like,
too. It's not you.
that's hilarious.
But
Wait,
Jack, I promise you, we killed it on the open mic. We went up, me and the girls, we sang Wagon Wheel, we serenaded everyone. It was kind of the closing song of the night. Like, it was just the final banger to close out open mic night. It was
I mean,
awesome.
how can anyone go after Wagon Wheel?
You shouldn't.
You can't.
You just turn off the amp at that point. Just turn everything off. Time to go home.
And it's like all the songs that they were singing were all classic rock, which was the funniest part. And it was like, you know, the people that kind of ran the open mic night was, I don't know. I'm assuming he was like American originally. He married a Guatemalan woman and they have a child. And that girl was hitting the mic. I mean, they were the party. But yeah, it's a lot of rooftops. I really enjoyed that too. Everywhere you go, there was a rooftop component.
That is cool. I'm all about the rooftops, the patios, the courtyards.
Yeah.
Open air.
No, they do a good job of utilizing the space because they may not have like a lot of space for ground floor patios, except for the courtyards, of course. But yeah, they utilize the hell out of the rooftops, which I really appreciate.
Now, just in terms of a nomad thing, I do remember I worked from the Salina multiple times in Antigua, and I really enjoyed that. So if you're watching, you need a co-work spot. I loved.
Did you stay at Selena too, or are you just working there?
I just worked there. I think they let me buy like some sort of work pass, and it was great. They had a really good setup.
Nice. I didn't even know there was a Selena there. Good to know.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
where it is.
Big nomad destination these days. I know when we were looking at nomad lists the other day, Jack, it was like a top spot on there right now. But yeah, my internet was good the whole time. Like I didn't have any issues there, except for with the podcast and trying to produce that because using heavy videos is always a slow process. But for my normal work day, yeah, the Wi-Fi worked great for me. And yeah, I feel like there were a lot of other nomads and remote workers in the town, so it's definitely built for that, at least for now. Hopefully it doesn't get flooded with too many gringos. But
Do you think it's the secret's out on Antigua? What do we think here?
yeah, a little bit. I'm trying to find the next Antigua that no one knows about yet. Like I wish if you would have known about Antigua like 30 years ago, you could have bought a house for like $100 or something. But now I feel like they're like, okay, gringos are coming. We're going to charge, still cheaper than Miami or the US, but
They're still
the price-
slinging those $10 acai bowls, dude. They're like,
Yeah, exactly. They got the vegan restaurants. They know what's up.
I feel like if there's a Selena, people are gonna find out, and it's growing.
yeah, that's a good point. If there's a Selena in the town, you're not early.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, but
it
that's
would
okay.
have been early, like 2 or 3 years ago. Kelly went to Guatemala she didn't stay in Antigua, but she was at the lake for a yoga retreat like 2 years ago, and she's like, it is significantly busier just 2
that's
years
what
later.
So maybe I'm trendy.
So if you're trying to go to Guatemala, go soon before it becomes like, I really hope it does not become like the next Tulum. I feel like it can't be.
Well, I did hear about Flores, right? I heard that's another cute town in Guatemala that's a little bit off the beaten path.
I
don't know anything
there's
about
so much to see that when I go back, I'll probably do all the go for a longer time and do Flores. When I originally had my trip planned years ago, we were supposed to fly into Tikal to see the ruins
it. Oh, I've
first.
heard about that. Yeah.
And then Semuk Champi, which is like a beautiful nature area with like really pretty like clear water pools, kind of like oh, I don't know the name, but like in Tuscany in Italy, there's that place where you can go and it's like all those like kind of looks like mineral pools, but they're like on a cliffside. Anywho, that's kind of the vibe of Semuk Champi. So much to see outside of even Antigua and the lake that we didn't, but the infrastructure is getting better there. I think it's gonna be like the next big thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm okay with not being too early because I need Wi-Fi.
True. I know I was back in October, I went to Nicaragua and I stayed at like a really cute resort and it's in a very sleepy rural surf town that's being built up right now.
Which one?
But the Wi-Fi was the first day I had a meeting and I was working remote the whole week and just like the grid shut down, like the power like just goes out at night and like that happens a lot and I'm like, so I mean,
We should have you back on another episode, Katrina, to talk about what'd you just say, Nicaragua? Because I know Jack's been there too, so you guys could both shoot the shit on that.
Were you in San
happy
Juan
to
del
come back anytime. Huh?
Were you in San Juan del Sur? Or
I went for a day.
Okay.
Popoyo was like 2 hours away. I liked it. I didn't spend enough time. I went for like a skate event at Ding Repair Cafe, which is like a bowl in the back for
You
skateboarders
skateboard?
and stuff.
No, I've been there. I've actually been there. Isn't that like an Australian thing or something?
No, I mean it's cute. It has actually like oh, Nomad. It has a little work area and they have like little rooms that you can go in at this place. It's a cafe, like they have really good food and they have a bar too, like cute seating areas so nomads can work as well. But then in the back, there's a skateboard. No, I do skateboard. Actually, Steve, I have your longboard in my closet.
Oh, I haven't seen
Whoa.
that bad boy in years.
So Steve
Yeah.
obviously.
When we were going through all your things, yeah, I've used it like twice. But yes, I used to longboard back in the middle school and high school days, but I was not confident going in the bowls. I just watched. Is they had like an all women skate event that night, and there's a lot of expats in San Juan del Sur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of gringos. Yeah.
The coolest guy we met, not the cool, but this really funny guy we met at the rooftop bar where we did open mic in Antigua. This guy had a shirt that said gringo on it, and it was amazing. It was kind of like in like a superhero type of like font, you know, like he like rips open his jacket and it's just like gringo. It was great.
Who wants a passport? That's cool.
Just really slap that sticker on and identify yourself.
All right, what else do we got to say about Antigua, guys? Kind of coming to the end here. All right, I think we're good then.
I'm like, I was there way less than you guys.
I know, but we covered the gist of it, I'd say. Some really cool viewpoints. I feel like there's just views of the volcanoes all over the town, which is cool. I ran up to this park that kind of overlooks the city, and it's got a view of the whole town and the volcano behind it, which was really cool. But yeah, just beauty everywhere there. I will say the locals were super nice. Also, like everyone was really cool there. So yeah, just good vibes all around.
And for something I meant to say, if you like nature and plants, they did a really great way of incorporating that. Like I loved all the lush greenery at the restaurants and those like really pretty hanging, it looked like pitcher plants, but like almost orchids that were in like that maroon and yellow color hanging everywhere. So I was just like,
Yes, there was like ivy all over like the walls and the buildings all around. I thought that was a beautiful touch.
flowering trees. And then your favorite part of that square, the fountain with the woman.
Yes, this fountain, Jack, maybe you've seen it, maybe you remember, but it's like a bunch of naked women and the water
the water's coming out.
comes out of their nipples.
That's why you were doing this, Steve, right?
Yeah, I was milking those puppies.
Look at those puppies.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm sure it
It's like-
represents, motherhood or something like that, but I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, and if you're in Antigua, coffee and chocolate. The coffee was fire.
Yeah, it
But-
was.
Steve, did you drink
All right.
coffee?
Yeah, oh, I crushed it. And I went to Starbucks, like I said, one day. So I bought something from Starbucks, but also some local spots. It was really good. I had to. When in Rome, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Coffee. Did you have your chocolate from, did Alita bring you chocolate
I've eaten
from,
like
it
half
was
of it.
ice,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It's just super like rich. It's just like, I don't even know. It's really strong chocolate. Like, is that a
Yes.
way you can describe chocolate? It was super strong. I had to take like small bites.
I think we're just
It
used to
didn't
eating
taste
fake.
real. I brought back, it was like batons. Like they're like this. And there was like a milk and a dark section in San Juan where they in on the lake. I was like, oh, I like dark chocolate way more. And so I brought some home so then Mark could try it too. I got a sea salt, a coconut, and a coffee one. Just last night, I'm like, ooh, let's try the sea salt one. I give him a bite. We both take a bite, and I'm like, this tastes weird.
It's too real. It's too real.
It's
Like,
too
it's not like the
real.
fake chocolate we get in the
We don't like
States.
that in America. We
Yeah, like
need artificial flavoring.
Throw some gummy worms in there for me.
Yeah, maybe
cups
some
of dirt.
soda or something.
All right, guys, that was a good sesh. Thank you so much, Katrina, for joining. Everyone, follow her at Treens Travels. Do you want to spell that out and get the underscore in there, Katrina?
For sure. Follow me. I go cool places, but I also have some really cool local recs to Colorado if that's your vibe. So yeah, Treens, TREENS _ travels. That's it.
Simple. Yeah. Great
Perfect.
Instagram account. And be sure to follow us at Nomads No Worries as well while you're at it. Just get some awesome content from a couple really fun accounts. But that's all we got for today. You want to close us out, Jack?
Thank you very much, and take a weird trip.